What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Stay Hot live stream. I'm Blaiden, joined as always by Matt and Theo. How are you guys doing today? I just got back from basketball class.
What did you learn how to do?
Oh, we just play basketball.
Oh, you get
That's
coached?
it.
Do you get a coach?
I'll not really coach, but like, if we're like really doing something wrong, like no one's like, it's not that serious. I don't know.
Do you take coaching well? Do you want to be coached? Do you crave to
I
be
I,
coached?
I think I take coaching well.
When you were in football, did you want to be coached hard, or did you want to just cook and then leave you alone?
Nah, because I wasn't like when I first started playing, I wasn't very good. So all I did was like listen to coaching and like watch film and like study the playbook. So I was like always like how can I get better? And the
If I
one thing I
was
didn't do, I wasn't in the weight room enough. That was my one biggest problem.
if I was if I was in a basketball class, I'd want Popovich treatment. I want somebody to yell at me. I need intense coaching to change my bad form and
Wow.
habits on a basketball court. If I got a basketball class and they weren't yelling at me all the time, I'd be like, what am I getting from this man?
I hit a couple threes.
All right, okay.
Mostly, I play some good defense.
That's the key.
That's really, I'm good on defense. That's my main draw. I don't turn the ball over a ton, so.
They're talking about the corn audio in the chat, which is a horrible audio and one that
It's
also
corn.
drives me crazy. But Matt,
It has
both
the
of my
juice.
parents separately, they're about 2 months behind on everything. So they just texted me the other day about the interview with that kid and how he got like this deal with a corn company. And they were like, you should show this to Matt. Matt should be doing this.
This kid has taken all of my possible corn sponsorships. This is it. Like my time has come and passed. This kid's gonna get, and God bless him.
You had your opportunity.
That kid dropped a corn review that you'll never touch. That kid dropped
that would bring me out of retirement.
He's a system corn reviewer.
Bro, you have to do a corn review now. Like
No, he's finished. No one cares about him anymore in the corn world.
I want you to go toe to toe with the corn kid,
He's
Matt.
like Doc Hudson with the piston cups in
the piston
garage,
cups.
and
I'm the Doc.
You're gonna coach him up. You're gonna coach him up.
Is the kid, and someday you're gonna meet, and you're gonna be like, "Don't you know who I am?" I almost don't think we can call him Corn Boy anymore because Corn Boy.
Oh, dude, really?
Corn Boy is someone else. I
Travesty.
think we gotta strip all these titles away.
What's the new outro gonna be?
Maybe just call me Matthew.
Just call him.
As always, from Matt, Theo, and Blaiden. Come on, man.
Wouldn't be terrible.
It doesn't hit the same. LaMelo boy.
Ball boy.
We got LaMelo boy, Justin Tucker boy, and
which one of us is Justin Tucker boy?
You both are Justin Tucker boy. From the Justin Tucker boys and Matthew.
Yeah, we
the Justin
we connected
Tucker
like
boys.
we're Siamese on that one. We're connected there. But Matt is washed. Kid bias.
Okay.
I guess we should talk about that Seahawks game.
You mean that Seahawks masterclass?
It was not a Seahawks masterclass, bro. This is my problem with this game. They got bailed by the Seahawks unbelievably, and I understand the Geno Smith feel-good story, so we don't want to say that, but like let's be real. That was one of the like biggest choke jobs I've ever seen in a game.
2 goal line fumbles and
don't fumble the ball,
and they missed the game winner. Yeah.
I mean, it was 64 yards.
Maybe it was 64 yards off the upright, dude. This was not like some impossible kick.
Maybe if you had Justin Tucker or Cade York, you would have made
kick this guy out of here, dude.
Well,
Cade.
They dropped 2 picks from Russ. There was one that bounced off Jamal Williams' face mask. There was one that Quandre Diggs dropped. Let's not act like the Seahawks. Geno Smith was balling in the first half, and
I mean, did the Seahawks score in the second half? Yeah, they put up
their defense. Their defense was great. Forced
no,
2 fumbles on the
it
goal
wasn't.
line.
They just got a couple of fumbles. I mean,
that's good. How is forcing fumbles not a sign of a good defense?
Fumbles. When you are getting coached for football, do they consider fumbles a forced error? or an unforced error?
You practice stripping the football.
And you didn't answer my question.
Well,
do
practice
coaches,
do
NFL coaches, did your coaches consider fumbles forced errors or unforced errors?
Well, we didn't refer to them as forced or unforced errors.
I think we know the answer to this one. They're fumbling twice on the goal line, unforced error.
You practice stripping the football.
Unforced error.
You practice stripping the football on defense, and offensive players practice not fumbling.
Error, undebatably.
They gave up a lot of yards. It is like the fumbles at the goal line, especially like also the cadence and the delay of games and the clock management from Russ and Hackett were bad the whole game. Even on those fumbles, if you watch them, like the snap is off kind of weirdly like late and it's messy. They shot themselves in the foot plenty of times, but I do want to give some credit to the Seahawks and Geno Smith. I mean, Geno did enough in the first half to really win.
They scored 17 points.
They scored 17 points, but
and
I don't know.
The Broncos scored 16.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, the Seahawks people victory lapping over Geno Smith week. I mean, it's just been unbelievable. I thought he played really good in the first half, but like, oh my God, dude, it's week 1. We saw one half, and that's I just thought it was crazy.
I liked what I saw from Geno.
I did too. I mean, he had
the whole game. I thought he played all right, and I think I don't know. I think like the Seahawks. It surprised me how ineffective they were running the football outside of some big, drumroll please, Rashad Penny runs.
One got called back by holding.
I know.
Walker.
I know, but. Yeah, one got called back by holding, and they didn't really run it a whole lot after that. They only attempted 19 runs for like 70-something yards. 60 of those were the GOAT, Rashad Penny. I do think that there was more meat on the bone for them on the ground a little bit than they took. But overall, I mean, for Seahawks fans, it's going to be a huge game because it's Russ's homecoming, and if you beat Russ in his homecoming, obviously you're going to freak out. And I would say like Russ and Geno, I mean, I don't even think like Russ played that much better than Geno, to be honest with you, during this game. Like as much as, they failed to move the ball in the second half, but like Russ should have easily thrown 2 picks. So, and even the throw to Judy was like severely underthrown. Yeah. So I didn't even think Russ played a great game. So if you're the Seahawks and you just got the equivalent of like 3 first-round picks for Russell Wilson, and then him, like it's gonna be a pack, on Twitter, Broncos pack. You just traded for all this, and you couldn't beat the team that just it's just kind of a funny game.
I get it. I mean, the Broncos. I'd say I'm more worried about the Broncos than I am like excited about the Seahawks, and I guess that's like a negative way to look at it. And I think the Seahawks are in that perfect spot where they're pretty decent, but they have they're not terrible, but they have no expectations. So if they won 4 games, no one would be upset. If they won 7, everyone's going to go nuts. So I think they're going to have a season they'll be like mentally they'll be in the same spot the Lions were last year, but they'll be like better than that. But that's where they are. They're in a Lions territory.
I love kind of where the Seahawks are right now is like roster wise. I think like Tariq Woolen has a lot of potential to develop as a corner.
He looked decent.
Yeah, he was 1-on-1 with Cortland Sutton, and he did a decent job, except for like as soon as the ball is in the air, he like panics and starts grabbing.
I didn't even think that was a really great defensive pass interference call. I never do.
I thought the first one was like pretty clear. Because he just like didn't turn around and was like pushing Sutton out of bounds. But the second one,
I think he did turn around. He
tried, but I don't know.
I thought he very clearly had his head around and was looking at the ball.
I don't know. I was as soon as that ball started coming, I'm like, they're throwing the flag. To me, that was a flag.
The underthrown pass interference is sad.
I guess that's
the worst.
I guess that's
a great game. 15.
The second one, I personally, I'm like, that ball was not really catchable. It was a little far. And yeah, he got a little bit of jersey, but I don't know if that's like a spot foul to me.
Seahawks fans lame for booing Russ. I want to address this. Hell no, they're not lame for booing Russ. They're fucking awesome for booing Russ. You know, he's not. Once he's retired and you boo him, then that's fucked up. If he's retired and he comes for the ceremony to like get his number retired or whatever they're gonna do, they're gonna put him in the Ring of Honor, and you boo him, then you're fucked up. When he is coming into your building after he requested a trade, he didn't want to be on your team anymore. You're not a Russ fan, you're a Seahawks fan. And he said, "Get me out of here." Like for years, that was like he'll stand in front of the podium and say like, "Oh, I love Seattle, always at home." But like behind the scenes, he wanted out, and that was the rumor for years. And so he got his way out, and then he comes back. He is the opponent. You can boo the shit out of him. Oh, you're gonna give him a video tribute? Give him a video tribute when he retires. There'll be time for that. He's about to go try to beat your ass. Yeah, boo him. Fuck a video tribute when he's playing you, you know? Unless it's like, you know, especially if he's still in his prime. There are times for video tributes, you know, if like maybe if a player is like washed and he comes back and they're like if Flacco, if he was playing in Baltimore for the first time and you're not scared of Flacco, you can give him the video tribute. But Russ, like he's about to like, and very well could just come like beat your ass, and you're gonna be like,
and also,
thank you, sir, thank you. No, after your career, thank him.
Russ, that might have been Russ's only chance to beat the Seattle Seahawks. Like he won't play. They don't play each other again for another 4 years unless they meet in the Super Bowl.
Did you hear what Melvin Gordon said after the game?
What
he said? Well, hopefully we can play him in the Super Bowl and beat him again. Like,
God damn it.
Hopefully we could see him in the Super Bowl. Like, Melvin, neither of you guys are getting.
Neither of you are going to the Super Bowl. Let's be real here. Oh man, yeah. If they both go to the Super Bowl, that would be a fun Super Bowl. I won't. That would be a fun Super Bowl. Geno Smith versus Russell Wilson. Yes, Seahawks Broncos. Super Bowl, go to with the sauce.
Does Bobby Wagner deserve a video? They cut him, so yes.
Bobby can get a video, but he's still starting, and he's playing.
That's a video though. If you let them go, that's a video.
Yeah, you can thank Bobby for the time. He did sign with a division rival, so if they don't give him, they shouldn't boo Bobby. They shouldn't boo Bobby because Bobby didn't request.
Now, also, no other position would have gotten booed.
Yeah. Also, Bobby's just a cooler person than Russ is, and I like him more. I like Bobby more as a person, I think, than Russ even though I think that Bobby is washed, and people probably think I hate his guts. I like Bobby Wagner, but yeah. Anyway, never forget when the Bills gave Andy Dalton a standing ovation for beating the Ravens and sending them to the playoffs, ending their streak. That's valid. They should give him a standing ovation for that.
Facts.
Minka is the best safety in the league. I'm afraid you might be spitting there.
You might be. He was so damn good.
Yeah. Derwin and Simmons, but I've got to put him above Simmons when I redo my top 100 every week. It's definitely going to be Minka way up there after this game. So, yeah. I always thought the narrative that like Derwin is the best safety and it's not even close was a little bit of a silly one. It's like there's like 4 tier 1 guys, I think, when it comes to Derwin, Minka, Justin Simmons, and probably Kevin Byard to me. So yeah,
Byard has to be up there, especially after his performance last season. So I got out of my math class today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to lunch, and I see that the Browns are updating their midfield logo.
So their stupid little elf.
Hey, don't talk about Brownie like that, man.
Yeah, are you defensive of this dumb elf?
Their fifth
Brownie
logo.
the elf.
Don't talk about Brownie like that, man.
Yeah, it's Brownie the elf. You have a problem with Brownie the elf?
Yeah. That's the worst logo
think it looks
in the
cool?
NFL.
Do you think the players like it?
Do you think it looks cool?
I kind of like it. I don't like the fact that they have so many logos, but I do like it more than just having their helmet out there. I mean, it looks cooler. It's more creative than that. I wish they would just like pick a logo. Like, are you gonna be the dog pound? Or are you gonna be the elves? Are you gonna be the Browns? Are you gonna be the oranges?
Yeah.
You know, you got so many different. Are you brown? Like you're called the Browns. You're orange. You're a dog is your fans.
Well,
and an
they're
elf
not
is
called the
midfield
Browns
logo.
because of their colors. They're called the Browns because Paul Brown founded the team.
Still, there's still an orange brown team with a dog and also an elf. And it's like, get your branding straight. I don't know what's happening here. I like the logo in a vacuum. Like if I just looked at it, I'd be like, that's pretty cool looking, old, vintage. You know, I'm a sucker for that. But like, I'm like, get your branding. I don't know what I'm looking at here.
Matt, do you like it?
No.
You don't like Brownie the Elf?
No. Brownie
Fuck
the Elf
you, man.
sucks.
What? So you're a big swagger fan then, right?
Who?
I agree. It's
The
like
dog.
what? Why are they the dog pound?
Who are these people?
Why is this team the dog pound?
Swagger is the dog.
Yeah, but why do they have a dog?
It's just one.
You know how like Georgia has a dog because they're
Ugga,
the Georgia
yeah.
Bulldogs, or like the Gamecocks have a rooster. Why do the Browns have a dog and their fans are dogs and they have an elf?
The Browns have updated their logos so many times.
No, they
Probably,
haven't.
like-
It's just been the Browns. Look at someone pull up Browns logo
No,
history.
the first logo was the elf, 1948 to
They've
1958.
updated
was
it
the
so
elf.
much since 1950. They've had the same thing.
And then they updated it a little bit, and then in 1970 they changed it to the helmet, because they were trying to like be simpler.
The Browns is a terrible name. That's
It's
an
named
awful
after
name.
the founder.
That's stupid.
That'd be like if I got a team and named it the Kirks.
That'd be dumb.
That would be dumb.
Or Theo, if you named a team the Ashes.
See, Ashes is also another thing, though. So
Yeah.
that's cooler.
It'd still be,
What
I don't
about
know.
the spawn hours?
The
Spawn hours?
Ashes,
The spawn hours, that I can see. That's a little different though.
the Cleveland Elf Dogs. Now you're speaking the brown Cleveland Elf Dogs. I like that. Look, I think the Browns. Look, I like the Browns uniforms a lot. Okay, those are cool. They need to add the stickers every time you do something good, like in college. That would really make it cool.
But they would just be little helmets, or they could be the little elves.
I don't know what they would do. I don't want little elves. Maybe like a dog bone. No,
And if
that's
they
stupid.
were the Cleveland Bulldogs, that would be way better. Why did they go Browns, man? That's nuts. And no other team was doing this. This is not like the way it was back then. And then they like,
No, because they're different. The Browns are different.
yeah, man.
They are special. They are very different. They run their organization in a very different and special type of way. Whether that be hiring a baseball guy to be their like GM or signing Deshaun Watson, they can never just do things right. Anyway, I think that the logo looks okay, but I do think they need to overhaul their branding and stick with either go all in on the elf or go all in on the dog. I think that those you can have your little mascot because like. What is a Brown? Are you gonna have a guy dressed up as Paul Brown on the sideline? That would actually be kind of funny, like an old timey like impersonator with the. Like,
Well, no, they wouldn't do that because Paul Brown like dipped,
what do you mean?
and then he also founded the Bengals.
So he's a traitor. So your team is named after a traitor.
Not even okay. Technically,
Yes, like totally.
well, technically he was fired, but then like he founded the Bengals, and now they're a rival. So,
See,
like,
what they should do is just call it like the Packers.
like, why do you think the
did shit
Bengals
right.
had Paul Brown Stadium?
The Packers did shit right. The Green Bay Packers were started by the blue collar, working class meat packing industry, and they gave the working class a nod in their team name. And then they named the stadium after the founder. And through all these years, they've said no to every single ad sponsorship that has come to request. They said, no, we're calling it Lambeau Field forever and always. It'll never be different. They made it a public company so the fans own it. That's the way you got to run your friend. And that's the way, like, they don't call it the Curly Lambeau, the Green Bay Lambos. They don't call it the Green Bay Curlies.
Oh, that would be kind of sick.
The Green Bay Lambos.
I don't know, man.
Like the
yeah, and then you can get a Lamborghini.
That's I've never even like. There's no like race car teams.
No. Yeah, no.
I think you could pull it off.
They should call it after a brand car. That should be like the Ford F1.
The Ford Rangers.
The Fords. The Ferraris. Yeah.
Ford
we need
tough.
more ads. We need teams.
Yeah, built Ford tough.
I wish a car company sponsored these teams.
I wish a car company
I can see into the future the Cleveland Cryptos when NFTs get a little bit bigger here, man. Soon.
When they go broke because they guaranteed
the Cleveland Cryptos. The New England NFTs, I can see it now.
The New England NFTs.
I thought buying Packers stock is worthless. If it was worthless, you would see. Look, the Green Bay would be called like Copenhagen Field after the Bratwurst company if it wasn't owned by the fans. So it's not worthless. It's a little worth. Like you don't make money, you don't profit off of it. Like it's not a real stock that like grows and is in your portfolio.
Like there's the majority owner,
but you do get to say, which is the important part. Like it's worthless, yes, but you do get to say that it's you are an owner, and the fact that there isn't just this big team owner, the fact that they have that, like there is no Dean Spanos there. The Green Bay Packers will never just move to fucking LA to be the 5th team there. It can only stay in
theory.
Green Bay.
In theory, one day, Theo, you could become a majority owner of the Green Bay Packers.
I couldn't because I don't even think that would matter. I don't even think you can be. I don't think you can buy that much stock in them. I think you can only buy them like one at a time. I don't think you can buy like 17 shares of stock. I think you can just become a one stockholder. But the fact that there is no owner means that you can't. They'll never relocate to Saudi Arabia when LIV football offers them a $1 trillion to do so, and they become the first Saudi Arabia.
They get offered like an oil deal.
yeah.
The BP Packers.
There is no Dan Snyder.
Shell Field.
Matt, I saw you retweet that the Washington Commanders were selling cups in their stadium of the.
Oh yeah, I thought that was funny.
The Washington.
I thought that was worth a retweet. They're so goofy over there. They can't get anything right.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, how did they mess that? How did that happen? That's one of those. It's like that. It's not only like the horrible stuff with that organization. It's just like nothing works. They've got nothing.
Yeah, they're excited after the Wentz game where he threw like 4 touchdowns over 300 yards. But it's like, man,
it's like just wait till week 3. Wait till week 3 when he throws 5 picks and
he threw 2
fumbles
picks
twice.
And like 5 passes that were just airmailed. And I was like, there's gonna be games where the pendulum swings. They're like, oh, he's so good. Yeah, there's gonna be games the pendulum swings. Thoughts on Robert Sarver? That's a good, because these are supposed to be somewhat NBA centered. Okay, Phoenix Suns, my favorite.
Well, this live
team.
is titled NFL Week 1 Recap.
Is it Week 1? Okay, well,
we can talk.
We're gonna talk about Robert Sarver of my Phoenix Suns. I hate to say it with this, but there was like 80,000 documents reviewed and like 300 interviews, and they came away with the conclusion, the shocking conclusion that the old white dude made some distasteful jokes, which I could have told you for free if I just looked at the guy one time. I've been around enough like of my grandpa's friends to know what they what that's like, dude. So they spent probably like $1 trillion investigating this, and then yes, sure enough, the old team owner was annoying and racist and said the N-word and like was sexist and harassed people. And like, to me, you should lose if you're just going to create an extremely toxic work environment and it's clear that you did, you should just lose the privilege of being an NBA. Someone else will be the NBA. It happened with the Clippers. I mean, that guy sucked. Donald Sterling or whatever. I mean, that guy was really racist, and they just said, nope, goodbye. But for some reason, I mean, we can debate on the level of suckage, but to me it's like 2 just completely like toxic environments and disrespectful environments. So it's like, get them out. It seems
like there was like an ongoing like pretty bad environment, And I
for
think you got to
years.
think
And
about
you
like
knew
all the
that
people who have to
before
work
this.
for that organization and, who have to report to that guy. And I think that's not fair to them.
Yeah.
And there was I didn't read all through everything they found, but like I guess my question is like what were they expecting to find that would get him kicked out? If they
he said the N-word, but I guess he was cool like, oh, the black players can say this, but I can't say this, but instead he just like said it. And it's like that's not directly calling someone the N-word, but it's like still incredibly like you can
Vile.
read between the lines on what he thinks, like and what he says.
and there's it's a bunch of stuff. I mean,
Right.
it
Like
was
so many
beyond
dog
that.
whistles, and not even dog whistles, just blatant dogs barking and yelling. And it's like, oh, congratulations. You did everything short of just pointing at a black dude and calling him a slur. So you get to keep the team because you just didn't do that's the thing. So like, yeah, I mean, and I wonder what his personality is going to be like when he comes back, because he's probably just going to be more angry and be like, make a bunch of jokes like, oh, are you guys going to report me? Like, it's probably still going to be like a toxic environment when he comes back. You just don't bounce back from that. He's 90 years old. He is who he is at this point, and the reports are that he really fought back and thought the year was too unfair and really made this process difficult by being completely uncooperative. He's just a old like crabby guy, and like an old crabby guy is not, this isn't fucking Christmas Carol where the ghosts of sons past come and like he turns into Tiny Tim and spreads Christmas joy all around. It doesn't happen. He's just gonna be fucking annoying and racist and horrible the rest of his life because that's who he is. So it's like, get him out of here, dude. So it sucks that I'm a Suns fan, but
Pro Football Focus graded Geno Smith the second best quarterback in week 1.
True.
I love
this is a clashing of narratives right here. I want to say Geno good, but I want to say Pro Football Focus rankings bad. And he was.
I couldn't believe the back and forth I had with Sam Monson yesterday. I legitimately
and I'm upset because Sam Monson is like one of my 3 favorite guys at PFF.
I mean, I've never listened to Sam Monson's podcast. I don't know the kind of analysis he brings really to the table, but I mean, I follow him, so I mean, I obviously care what he has to say a little bit. And he doesn't make the grades, but to challenge and be like, what game manager is ever topped PFF's grades? And then like immediately people being like Tannehill like 2 years ago.
Right.
And then being like, well, actually, if you include the playoffs, he was only the 3rd best quarterback, and also he wasn't a game manager.
Well, this is the problem. It's like anytime a player's ranking gets high enough on Pro Football Focus, well, then I actually think they're way better than a game manager. So you're wrong. So it can never happen because I will never consider someone.
His stats were good that year. Like,
yeah. These are. Do you want to hear the rankings for the PFF quarterbacks?
I assume that Cousins and Geno are 2 of the top 3 guys this week.
Allen is 1.
Allen is 1, which is I think
like head and shoulders 1. Like he got a 91. He got a 91.5 offensive grade. So, number 2 was Geno. Number 3 was Kirk Cousins. Number 4 was Ryan Tannehill. Which, come on. Number 5 is Justin Herbert.
Herbert was so fucking good, dude. Like, I don't even understand how.
Number 6 was
the Geno
Jameis.
game and the Herbert game. Well, yeah, or like the Herbert game. Like Herbert, Mahomes, Allen were like clearly the best 3 quarterbacks, like the most talented ones.
Number 5 was Herbert. Number 6 was Jameis. Number 7, Lamar. Or tied at 7 is Lamar and Jalen Hurts. And then number 8, or I guess number 9, is Patrick Mahomes. And number 10 is Tom Brady.
Yeah, I mean, it's just they reward and they're not necessarily wrong in being like, they Tannehill, Cousins, and Geno, they made a lot of nice play. They always kind of made the right play. Right, they didn't do anything negative, so they should have like a highish grade. I think they all played well.
But did Mahomes do anything negative?
they're like, well, he threw a turnover. There was a turnover worthy play because he threw a jump ball in the end zone.
He threw 5 touchdowns, man.
And they're like, we don't
what?
care that he threw an
They
underhand.
won by 40.
Like, bro, they dropped back like what? They ran 66 plays and picked up 33 first downs and scored 5 touchdowns, and his completion percentage was like 80%. Like, what was a better game look like? Like, seriously think like, oh, if they would have dropped 60 on the Cardinals if they had Geno Smith at quarterback playing like he did. Hell, like no that you don't. And I always hear like some of the PFF defenders or PFF grades defenders, because I'm not I want to keep myself in decent standing with some of the work
with
like
Seth Galina.
And
I like Steve Palazzolo. I would like to get Steve. I would like to talk to Steve Palazzolo.
I would like to have PFF guys who I like on the podcast in the future. So I don't want to write up. But the grading is like you just gotta be. Some of the defenders of the grading will be like, well, PFF. When you run, like, their grades do a good job predicting future performance. Like when you run they're a relatively stable metric. Like guys with high grades, like higher, like even more so than some of these other stats. It's like PFF grades. It's like, yeah, obviously, if you were to run some regression analysis or correlation, like study the correlation on me giving quarterbacks a 1 to 5 star grade. Mahomes 5-star, Allen 5-star, Rodgers 5-star, Herbert 5-star, and I were to do that every single year, my correlation would be like all the top guys would stay at the top. Like, it's not hard to predict what quarterbacks are going to be great and which ones are going to suck ass. Like most of them stay the same, like, so when they say like, actually our grades do a pretty good job and they're one of the most stable metrics, it's like, yeah, well, who cares?
Because most other metrics aren't. They're like, I don't know.
My sister could talk about quarterbacks and give them a grade on a 1 to 100 scale every year, and she would like be just as good as PFF grades if she were to say Allen good, Mahomes good, whoever, Lamar good. Like, it's not that hard. Yeah. It's not that hard to say the good players are good and then be right again the next year, right? DJ Watt is still good. Like, it's just like victory lapping something that anyone could do, So they're like, oh, well, we do a good job knowing what players are going to be good next year based on what the grade we gave them last year. That's like bare minimum. Everybody knows that.
I mean, like, I do that QB chart every year, and last year's quarterbacks, like the top 10 across, like, like on the average was Rodgers 1, Brady 2, Herbert 3, Stafford 4, Mahomes 5, Prescott 6, Winston 7, but he also played limit. He got hurt. Cousins 8, Burrow 9, Kyler 10. But by PFF grades, Brady 1, Burrow 2, Herbert still 3, Rodgers 4, Cousins 5, Allen 6, Kyler 7, Dak 8, Tannehill 9, Jalen.
See, that's the thing.
10.
It's like mostly the same. But then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, you have Burrow above Rodgers. That was not the case last year. That was just not the case last year. I'm sorry. And like, that might be wrong the next year, but you could still say, well, like, overall we did a pretty good job. It's like, there's still egregious errors in your grade. Like, Mac Jones was not better than Patrick Mahomes last year. I think Mac Jones legitimately finished with a higher grade. Like, if that ever happens, just like what?
Mac Jones finished with a higher grade than Mahomes, Derek Carr. Those are probably the only. Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston. Well, maybe you could say Russ.
The other thing
Lamar.
is,
I don't think Mac Jones wasn't better than Lamar.
They get those grades out. I swear to you, I need to know who. This is my big question: is like, who is giving these grades? Because the games end at like 10, 11 p.m. Eastern time. They have those grades up the next morning. What army of football geniuses do you have that can't find any other better work than staying up all night watching football and grading everybody perfectly? Like, how do they do that? What human beings do they have staying up all night grading things perfectly? Just think about that in your head. An army.
That means they have to have like They have to have like coaches film angles.
They don't have that many. They literally hire people out of college and high school, and they give them a training course on like what to look for.
I remember Matt and I were going to do that
to do
in
their
like
grades at like
2019
at like 12 o'clock at night, and they're up until 5 pounding Red Bull and half asleep, and that's that's how they come up with the grade. Like, I'm sorry, PFF grades. Like, I am just not interested in. I think you can cross-reference it. It's like, oh, I wonder what PFF said, because there's sometimes it's obvious that a guy played bad. Like, anyone could see, like, a guard got beat 5 times in this game. He played bad. So, like, overall, like, the fact that someone is out there watching every player, like, is maybe somewhat useful. Like,
yeah,
you know, just like, who would have an opinion on Luke Fortner otherwise? Like, no one. You wouldn't be able to get any information about him. Now this gives you like a rough idea of how good he is, but like, still, it's not like, oh my god.
I think it'd be interesting if I released like the average quarterback efficiency rankings weekly, like try to update that weekly. I might try and do that.
But anyway, burning
Just,
the
like,
PFF
give a
bridge is crazy.
comparison.
I mean, I've burned the PFF. I've questioned PFF grades for how long on this show, and
Yeah, and we've had you know, Seth on, and
yeah, follow PFF Seth. Look, read their articles. There's some good articles out there. Their stats. I do believe they're like raw, like pressure numbers and accuracy rate, like that. All that's not great,
bro.
It's just like objective.
How much
facts.
is like if PFF Elite wasn't like so much fucking money?
It was like, a little bit cheaper this year, but I have a different one. So anyway,
okay. Yeah. I have like the one that just allows me to see the grades, but like
anyway, enough PFF slander. Anything else? Anything? What else have we got? Questions here.
Let me read
thoughts on how Baker played. I thought it was pretty rough for the most part. He turned it on a little bit at the end. He had a couple of nice drives. I mean, if Cade York misses that field goal, we'd be talking about, so Baker, you know. So
no, Baker played bad.
Yeah, they would. He didn't play that bad. He did turn it around. I mean, he led them on a game-winning drive. He did.
No, here's the thing. The Panthers didn't start looking good until they actually started feeding Christian McCaffrey. The first half, Christian McCaffrey had 5 touches. He had 5 touches in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
And when they started giving him the ball, then they started looking good on offense.
Mm-hmm. McCaffrey had like 10 carries for like 30 yards.
Well, that's what you have to do to him, though. You know, otherwise he's going to get hurt. We're going to be seeing a lot of that this year, I think.
Lame.
You know, just what it
McCaffrey, is. Okay, McCaffrey had 5 touches in the first half. He had 4 in the second then, because he had 14, so he had 9 in the second then, and that's when they turned it on.
In the fourth quarter.
He had 4 receptions for 24 yards and 10 carries for 33 yards.
And they turned it on by what? Making the game, was it 20?
They were leading with a minute to go, and they had a phantom penalty called on them that cost them the game, and then a 58-yarder. Let's be real about that. Come on.
You got to be real about like the Packers. You know, they get away with more holding and penalties than any other team in the league because we're a historic franchise. You know, and you got to give them the calls. It's the same with
Browns. The Browns have had the most awful luck with penalties in history. Like, for the past decade, no one has had more bad luck with penalties.
Well, they had very good luck too. You know,
they deserve it. You know what? Then they deserve it.
They don't. The Browns do not deserve good luck. That much I can promise you.
Because
the Browns are the unluckiest team in league history. You know? The Browns are the unluckiest team in history.
They're not unlucky.
Are
they? Their own luck, dude. Like, I'm sorry. Our quarterback is suspended. Oh, we drafted a 28-year-old rookie. See that? Oh, we drafted a drug addict in the first round, a gambling addict, Johnny Manziel. Oh, we're so unlucky. You made the sandwich, you know? Like, Browns fans be like, why does our team suck?
Thoughts on the missed intentional grounding? Me and my friends always talk about how like way more throws should be intentional grounding. Like if a quarterback is throwing it intentionally to the ground, it should be intentional grounding. This is our hot take.
Well, did you
What
see
about
the
okay? What
did you see the
about
spike in the Saints game that got called intentional grounding? Because that was horrible. That shouldn't be intentional. They
What
spiked
about-
it.
If
what
you,
about-
I will give you a spike. A spike is one thing
spike,
that makes
that
the game.
was so
If
bad.
it is, if it is not immediately thrown down and you intentionally throw it to the ground, that's intentional grounding in my book.
what about quarterbacks that are like, it's like on the goal line, they just like throw it into the stands, like throw it way out.
That
Like,
well, where did they throw it to? The ground. That's intentional grounding.
like, like you just like they throw it to like the goalpost. Like, is that? Do you think that should be
it's
intentional grounding?
intentional grounding in my book.
You know, they're
Intentional
very,
grounding.
Even if they're out of the pocket.
Well, we this is me and my friends being like stupid about this, but I will say this: there are a lot like the rules for intentional grounding, like what constitutes that is so incredibly strict. Like there are a few plays where Jalen Hurts would like just like shove it forwards like 2 yards, and that counts as incompletion. Those were kind of like I don't know if that should be like that was intentional grounding, but like throwing it out of the back of the end zone, like okay, yeah, you can throw the ball away.
Yeah, I
Fair
think
enough.
I'm just leniency when it comes to offense and the uncatchable pass whenever there's defensive pass interference. There are a lot of uncatchable passes. Like that whole thing tends to get ignored sometimes where like the ball will land 7 yards ahead of someone but they got interfered with and it's like they're not Dash from the Incredibles here, you know. They're not Speed Racer. They can't get over there. Like use some more discretion on or less discretion on what is an uncatchable pass if we're talking about penalties. And as usual, the college 15-yard pass interference penalties. There weren't too many game ruining penalties week 1, I thought. Obviously the Panthers game was one
Ruined.
that was
Oh
unfortunate.
yeah, ruined.
But
Yeah.
we got through
Browns got lucky.
we got through a close game, Seahawks versus Broncos, and no one was bitching. No one, the whole like aftermath dialogue, no one was bitching about the penalties and the rules, which is pretty rare after a close primetime game. Is usually but yeah,
W. Especially considering there were 2 defensive pass interference, but that's just because the team that had those won. Had the Seahawks lost, people would be talking about those 2 defensive pass interference.
yeah, that's probably true. There was a bad taunting penalty against the. Well, there's never a good taunting penalty, but that was bad. But it was like in the first quarter, so it's okay. But
Yeah,
overall,
they got our guy on that one, Jonathan Cooper.
Jonathan.
I didn't get to watch. I didn't get to watch the first quarter because I was.
Yeah, they got Jonathan Cooper for a taunting, and it was like it
Oh.
was
It
so
was really weak.
so light. He just like flexed like for a second, like this right after he made the hit, and they got him for it. I couldn't believe it.
Did he get a sack?
No, he was like something out in the flat. I thought I don't know.
It was
I
a
don't
check
remember.
down to the flat, and then he came flying from his linebacker spot and made a really nice tackle in the flat.
He's a good
Wait,
player.
They had him back at linebacker. Isn't he like?
Maybe it was
I
an
thought he
end.
was
Maybe
like-
he just
I
came
thought he was
flying in
like an
from
end. Okay.
like it was in the flat. It seemed like to me like he was playing linebacker. Maybe it was one of those
Okay.
simulated.
It wouldn't
pressures where
shock me.
defensive end drops back.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah. So I'm about to say, I remember Ohio State like put 40 pounds on him just so that he could play end.
Yes. What else happened? But like for the amount of close games that happened week 1, and there was a bunch, I didn't see too many like we were robbed too much. We were robbed dialogue, except
Just
from
my team.
Matt. It's just Matt.
Yeah.
Just me.
But like the Lions and the Titans and the who else? What are the other games? The Bengals, all the games from the early window basically. The Falcons. I didn't see them all. I didn't see any much like bitching about penalties, which is always good.
I'm gonna give you guys a sneak peek of my top fantasy performers this week coming out on FanDuel. Let me know what you think.
Okay.
This
All right.
upcoming week or this last week?
This upcoming week.
This
like
last week would kind of be a
predictions.
boring segment considering.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
So running back, Saquon Barkley. going against the
Against
Panthers.
the Panthers.
The Brown Nick Chubb just ran for 150. Kareem Hunt had 2 touchdowns. I think Saquon can do a very similar job, especially considering he basically carried them to a win.
He looked real sharp. I was happy to see it.
He looked really good. I think the Giants could look at that and be like, yeah, we can lean on him again.
Hot Rod got cut, the Colts kicker?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, really?
No.
That's wild, man.
He played bad.
It's not really that wild. He's kind of sucked for a minute now as a kicker, but
he's like a fan favorite, you know.
Another one bites the dust.
The one bites the dust. Then for receiver, I'm taking Devontae against the Cardinals. I think that
That's
can
just
yeah.
Well, I think, but here's the thing. Wait, go. Who's your next one?
And then I'm doing Travis Kelce against the Chargers.
So we got 3 first-round picks, though. Let me see us like.
Well, it's top fantasy performers.
So these are just who you think you're gonna have the best
Yeah.
weeks. All right.
There's no value. Someone else is doing value picks.
All right.
So-
I like Garrett Wilson. I like Brees Hall, Flacco, Michael Carter. I expect all of them to have big games.
Did Garrett Wilson do any? I didn't watch anything about the Jets offense. I didn't think I saw a single moment of the Jets offense. Did Garrett Wilson do anything?
I think he had some stats. Let's look at the stats. He had 52 yards, 4 catches.
It's not bad.
Okay.
That's not bad.
Drake London had a decent game, if I remember.
You know, if you average 52 yards a game, that's 884 yards over the course of a 17-game season. That's nothing to shake a stick at. 50...
First game against a very good secondary. He'll be going up against a terrible secondary soon, so you could.
Same thing with Treylon Burks, also 57 yards. All right, everybody panicking about him, saying he'll never be shit. He's gonna be benched. He's not gonna do anything. And then he had like 57 yards, 60 yards, something like that. Like, he'll be fine. Look at him. He was one of PFF's
for those of you that don't
Silly
know,
grades.
Matt is trying to slander my Cleveland Browns.
What do you mean?
When?
Talking about the Jets. He's like, oh, I want Garrett Wilson. I want Brees Hall.
Oh,
they play the Browns this week.
Okay, all right.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yes, you did, dickhead.
No. No, I didn't.
Drake London looks like he's going to be him. I think he is going to be him.
He is going to be him. Bro,
him.
He's so good.
He is nice.
He's also like the only.
Kyle Pitts' narrative isn't looking too crazy right now.
There was an article that what was it? Arthur Smith said, even though Kyle Pitts wasn't like the main receiving target, he was still super valuable to that game just because of how many eyes were on Kyle Pitts at all times.
Kyle Pitts is him. He was, as far as I'm concerned, the best player in the NFL Week 1 because of his gravity. I'm gonna start giving the Steph Curry treatment to Kyle Pitts, where it's not possible for him to have.
When he plays great, he's great, and when he plays bad, he's great because the other team had to worry about him being great.
I don't care that he had 17 yards. Right, the Falcons were in that game towards the very end.
I thought he had 19.
He may have had 19 yards. Their offensive line was like one of the highest rated offensive. Saints defensive line was getting no push. Somehow that has to do with Kyle. Like somehow it has to do with attention paid to Kyle Pitts. That's all I know. Kyle Pitts, he does equal Steph Curry. He is his gravity. You know,
gravity.
This was like game. What was it of the finals where Curry shot like 1 for 9 or something. That was this game. He still played great. No way we're using the Steph Curry argument for a tight end. Well, he's not a tight end. He's like a wide receiver freak guy. So, yeah, his gravity allowed things to open up for Cordero Patterson is what the official word from Theo Ash, NFL HQ.
What did you think of the Eagles game? I think the Eagles are good. The Lions were able to run all over them, but the Lions have a really good offensive line. And then like DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams are just too good.
Watch the tape on that offensive line because I know that pass block, like the win rate stats and PFF rated Lions is dead last this week in offensive line performance.
Really?
Dead last. Like, and it wasn't just PFF or it wasn't just ESPN. It was both of them said that they sucked.
Wait, in pass blocking or?
I wasn't totally sure if it was pass pro or not. I feel like it must have been because
because they got most of their
yards per carry.
It must because like their running was out of this world. So I would find it really hard to believe that like.
I don't know. I'll have to watch
the run blocking.
The tape won't lie to me. The tape seldom lies. So
tape never lies.
We'll find out. But
let me pull up. I'm gonna try and pull up their offensive line rushing grades.
Kyle Pitts is not a tight end because he can't block. Actually, the tape seldom lies, and the tape says he can block a little bit. He can block a little bit.
Run blocking.
Micah Parsons, best player in the league. Man, it's
real level.
He is really.
He's working his way towards
that. Working his way towards it, man. That's not a take that I'm super strongly against. Donovan Smith is no scrub, and Micah Parsons walked him like a dog week 1, and him as a full-time edge, defensive player of the year. It's not out of the defensive player of the year race is really like Garrett and Watt was doing amazing, and Nick Bosa had a sack, and Khalil Mack had 3. All the great edge rushers showed out week 1. Bosa, Watt, both Bosas really played pretty well, I thought. Nick was a little bit disappointing against that Bears line, I guess, but he still had a sack and 3 pressures. But yeah,
Penei Sewell was the only Lions offensive lineman that graded even remotely well, but he was second in run block in like their run blocking grades among tackles, but every other Lions offensive lineman graded like below 70.
Really interesting. It's a very interesting. Like I'm really gonna watch out for that.
Yeah.
Was Kyle Hamilton good? No, he has not been good, man. I'm regretting pushing Kyle Hamilton narratives after what I saw this preseason and what was happening week 1. That guy missed tackles on like 50% of his tackle attempts, dude. He is not as twitchy as I thought he was, or as twitchy as I hoped he'd be. I hope he can turn it around and get a little better, but every time I watch Kyle Hamilton, he's getting juked out of his shoes. So yeah, that's
unfortunate.
That's unfortunate. Comeback player of the year, MT or Saquon? Saquon can't be comeback player of the year because he played last year too much to me.
That's fair. But if he has like 2,000 yards, they might actually, at that point, just give him offensive player of the year.
Thoughts on Ike Ekwonu, Matt?
Bad. Shouldn't have drafted him. I'm afraid. Maybe I'm being too negative. Like, he can turn it around. Dude, why? With the project and pass protection, you're playing with fire.
Tyler Smith looked substantially better than him at left tackle for Dallas this week.
And J.C. Horn didn't have that good of a game. So this front office is on its last legs, I'm afraid, if things don't start going right very, very soon.
That's okay. Quinn Ewers,
here we come.
Once I sign that software engineering deal, I'll buy the Panthers for you, Matt.
All right, thank you, buddy.
Then we can fix.
And then we can get Quinn Ewers,
and then we can take Nick Chubb and trade for 35-year-old Nick Chubb, and
it could be awesome.
Charles Cross looked like he was getting cooked. He had some tough reps. He
also had some pretty good reps. I thought, like, overall, the Seahawks offensive line was impressive.
It was all right. The offensive line and the run blocking was a little disappointing when I talked about that earlier.
I thought the run game was a little underwhelming, like, collectively.
When do y'all think Rule gets fired? That's a good question. Let's go through the Panthers' schedule. Let's see if we can, because it's going to happen.
Well, they're going to lose to the Giants next. Well, actually, I here's the thing: the Panthers are not that bad. They could have very easily won. And against subpar teams, they've got a 50-50 roll of the dice chance of winning.
Yeah,
So
Saquon could have
Cardinals,
a great game in that.
If they lose this game and then they hit the Saints, Cardinals, 49ers, Rams, Bucks stretch.
hold on, let me look at it.
Here's the thing. I think they get through that Bucks stretch. But if they lose
I think
to the
Matt Rule
Falcons,
loses to the Panthers on October 30th after going like
the Falcons.
They're like, the Falcons. So they're
Yeah.
0-1. We'll say 1-1, 0-2, or 1-2, maybe 2-2 after playing.
He'll get fired after the home Falcons game will be the one that
October 30th, Halloween. He's gone. He's gonna.
No, I think he'll get a little bit longer than that. I'm saying the home.
Oh, the next November 11th.
Here's what I think will happen. Actually, dude, I don't know because the expectation is like got to be playoffs. It's like it could happen. I might agree. I think the first Falcons game, it's like
Halloween, man.
Maybe they get just destroyed by the Bucks or something.
If you can if they could be, I don't know, dude. If they win one or two games, but then they get to that second. If they get swept by the Falcons, I know for a fact that'll be it.
Yeah.
I don't think
there's no way. There's no way.
Oh, there's very much way.
There's very much a way, dude. Arthur Smith was kind of cooking week 1 against the Saints. Like he was drawing up some.
No, I'm saying there's no way they get past both those Falcons games without him getting fired.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I think this is going to shape up to be a really bizarre year for the NFL. Because the Buccaneers, I think there might be a world where the offensive line is just ass and they're a little underwhelming after Donovan Smith, his injury, Ali Marpet's retiring, Kappa's departure, and I think there's a world where that offensive line, which also ranked pretty badly and got its ass kicked by the Cowboys a little bit, the 49ers with Lance I'm not totally worried about them. I mean, the Cardinals, I think, are going to stink. The Rams, I think, are going to be underwhelming. So these next games, no contenders except for the Bills and Chargers and Chiefs are teams that I'm looking at those are the only 3 teams I'm remotely confident in right now. So maybe the Panthers will get this weird luck of the draw, and
I think they're going to win some games. I honestly think that'll make it pretty close to the end of the year now that I think about it.
Yeah, I don't think it's just a guarantee.
I think they're going to get eliminated maybe a little bit earlier than you'd hope. That's all I would say, and then he'll just get fired maybe at the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
They aren't that bad.
We'll see. I don't know. I haven't watched the first game. I think it happens in November. I think they get eliminated in November sometime, and then that's it. I think it'll happen in the month of November.
We really might see Kirk Cousins make a Super Bowl this year with this weak NFC.
That's what my All-22 is about. I think of all the teams in the NFC right now, who do you like more than the Vikings? The Bucks, I would say, maybe.
The Eagles are still
The Eagles are still yours, but in the playoffs, I don't trust Jalen Hurts. I think the Vikings are could be right there. Are the Vikings and Eagles really going to be that far off from each other?
I don't think so. Maybe not.
The Eagles are going to kick. The
if
Cowboys
the 49ers, if the 49ers don't pick their shit up, it could be Eagles 1 seed, Vikings 2 seed.
Yeah, I think the Vikings are going to have a pretty high seed, and I think they can really make some noise this year. So we'll see if that actually happens, but.
Hey, can't wait to see Kirk Cousins get just destroyed in the Super Bowl by Josh Allen.
Panthers get Sean Payton. Sean Payton is a Dallas Cowboy as we speak. All right, that deal is done, signed, sealed, delivered. It can't happen right now, but trust me, by this time, screen record it, whatever you want to say, Sean Payton at this very moment is a Dallas Cowboy.
Brian Flores is the Panthers coach you're thinking of, hopefully.
Ooh.
I'd be down.
I would be very excited for that. That's what I want. I think with the defensive pieces that we have, he could do a lot. But
yeah.
Burns,
and then when we
bring in another edge rusher in the second round or something.
Yeah.
First round, you take
who better to get all the potential out of J.C. Horn than Brian Flores?
When will Cliff be fired? It's not going to be this year. He just got a big extension.
Yeah.
He just got a big extension. He's been doing a great job. He's not getting fired this year. They could go 0-16, and I don't think 0-17, and I don't think he'd get fired. Here's a question for you guys that I was thinking about on my own live stream yesterday that I just thought about. A team goes 0-17.
Ties all their games?
Ties all their games. Where do they pick in the draft?
Well, that's the equivalent of going 500.
Is it, or is your win percentage 0 and it's equivalent to
it counts as a 500.
Yeah, it's 500.
Wins count as 1,000 and losses count as a 0.
So they're 500. They're exactly 500.
Yeah, so it would be the same as being 8-8, but with an extra game.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
So, like, depending on how the rest of the league falls, I mean, you could be picking 16th,
like
17th. Yeah.
Montrezl Harrell just signed with the Sixers. How should we feel about that? Well, he can't shoot, and he's not a good defender. So how can he play in the playoffs?
Well, Doc Rivers will find a way.
Doc Rivers. It's like he's one of those role players who clearly is good at things. Like, he does things well. He's not a bad player, but
real rebound. Yeah.
Those things they're not the things that you like. I don't know. I don't think he's that serious of a role player, I'm afraid. Like, his skill set just doesn't match what you need from a role player in the NBA. That's what I think. He'll be solid in the regular season. But I don't know. It's tough to make the lineups work around him.
Should Hackett be fired today right now? I'd fire him. I could find a better head coach than that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Seriously, you don't think there's a head coach better than you search your soul and you really think like Hackett's gonna lift the Lombardi Trophy? Like, if you search your soul, do you really see that happening? Mr. Office quotes himself, Michael Scott, funny moments compilation coach. No, he's not. He's not doing shit. I'd fire him immediately. I'd just get a do-over. I'd be like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't even know who I'd hire. Joe Brady. I don't care. I don't know. Whoever the quarterback's coach is.
Yeah, I think so.
I would anticipate another David Culley type of situation for them.
Really?
I would. I don't think that he was a serious hire. I think that we wanted to hire Josh McCown for whatever godforsaken reason, and then Brian Flores sues the league for not giving like black coaches a shot and hiring underqualified white coach. And they literally are about to sign the paper on the most underqualified white coach we've ever seen in ever. And they're like, we can't actually do that. So I think that's kind of what this Lovie Smith hire felt like to me. Not that like Lovie Smith, did some nice things on the Bears, but I mean the Texans defense was not that good over the past. Like, he wasn't this assistant. Now I do like Pep Hamilton. I do like kind of the staff around Lovie. Maybe they'll fire Lovie and promote Pep Hamilton. I wouldn't hate that. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, they didn't look that bad week 1, I guess. Like, Davis Mills looked all right.
Yeah.
Stingley looked good.
Yeah.
Their linebackers gave me a headache. They were horrible, and Jonathan Taylor rushed for like 170 yards on them. So we'll see. But yeah. Why not make McCown an offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach first? Who the hell knows, dude? I don't know. I do not know why you would just be like, Josh McCown, you've never coached anywhere. I mean, he was basically a quarterback coach for Darnold the last couple of years. Didn't get very good results out of Darnold, but no.
Wasn't Josh McCown like on call one time to just like, hey, if we need you to fly out in like 2 hours to...
I mean, who knows? Every elite head coach right now is like a former backup quarterback somewhere. So like, it's not unreasonable to think that he could do a decent job with it. But like, you gotta see it in can you coach the offensive line first, or can you coach the quarterbacks? Or like, you're gonna just be in charge of the whole team, the
whole shebang.
You're gonna be the CEO. You're gonna be the figurehead. You've never done this before at all. Anyway,
Bro's gonna go from like fry cook to CEO.
I don't think Lovie Smith is getting fired in season though. I think there might be like a more compelling candidate that opens up, and they might make a move. But yeah,
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna fire him in season.
No, they're not gonna fire him in season. No, they could be that. They're not gonna do that. But like, there's gonna be some head coaching candidates, whoever it may be, who knows, that are more intriguing to me than Lovie Smith. So who knows?
One day, Nick Foles is gonna be the greatest coach of all time.
Am I worried about Trevor Lawrence? Like a little bit. I watched the game. Some of the accuracy issues is like I'd really like to see him, because we haven't really seen it very much at all from him through 18 games at this point. Like a Trevor Lawrence masterclass. The Bengals game was decent last year, but through 18 games, we need to see a masterclass soon. We need.
He's got to start coming along here. Yeah. All right, it's like him not being great at this point is fine and understandable, but if we get to the end of the season and the accuracy isn't heading the right direction, that's when it might start where we're very much looking at a bust, I think.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He didn't play that bad this week. That's the thing. Like, he did not play horrible. I'm trying to think of where he ranked in EPA among all the second-year quarterbacks. I'd be willing to bet.
I can pull it up.
It was number 1. Let's see. It was.
I'll pull up the PFF.
It was number 1. It was 14th in the league. It was still a negative because there's a lot of bad quarterback play this week. But he was 14th in EPA. He was above Fields. He was above Chase. He was above Davis Mills. He was above.
He was 22nd in PFF.
22nd. So like I thought he was like up and down this week. There were some nice moments for sure. It wasn't like a holy shit, he's bad type of game.
Right. No, I agree.
Yeah, he wasn't great. He was under Montez Sweat led the league in pressures this week. Daron Payne had a really nice game. Jonathan Allen, he was under some duress for sure. And there were some really nice moments of pocket movement as always with him, and he had a nice deep shot to Christian Kirk with Jonathan Allen right in his face, putting his hand up. So there were some decent moments, but there were also some like that missed wheel route to Travis Etienne in the end zone. It's like, and like the EPA could have been so much better if Etienne caught some of these passes in the red zone, but the accuracy was just a little bit off.
Etienne did not look that good, did he?
Etienne, there were some nice moments from him too. I actually watched that game.
He averaged like 11 yards per carry.
I don't know, man. He had a lot of drops.
He had a lot of drops, and that's something.
Okay, on one he got like popped, bro. That dude got
to come down with that one.
Here's the thing about him.
I've never seen someone get hit that hard.
His catch technique is bad, and this is something like if you guys follow Matt Waldman, this was something he was saying about Etienne for like during the draft process, because everybody's like, oh, he's such a great receiving back, because they would just throw it to him a lot. But he's like, he dropped a lot of passes and he catches it like this. He catches it like a sea lion. And there were drops in the preseason. There was a big drop week 1. It's like I think he's a somewhat dynamic runner, but I think there's always going to be drops with him. I think that's where I'm at with Etienne. Is like I don't know, and James Robinson is good too. So I don't think Etienne is going to be horrible, because there were some runs where he looked kind of shifty and dynamic, but the drops are concerning, and I don't know if they're going away.
Cab to Dallas. I don't know, dude. I don't know anymore, man. I think Cam's shoulder has been pretty messed up for a long time. That's what I would say about that.
Well, yeah, I'd like to see it. No, I don't know.
I would not.
I have done this those wide receivers. Enough.
Yeah. His shoulder is just like throwing him in the middle of the season into these situations where it's like, dude, no. If some other quarterback got hurt there, probably not a good place for Cam to go.
Yeah. Some people floated the Garoppolo idea. That's a horrible fucking idea. The Cowboys trading for like a month and a half of Garoppolo. Like, what is that going to do? The Cowboys are cooked, right? Like, I think we all recognize that they're not making the playoffs right now. Like, the season is over. So
the season is over.
The season is over. I made that TikTok immediately after. I think many people who saw that was the first time they had gotten the news. So I was kind of proud of that. But yeah, I think that they should just tank. Honestly, I think they should just ride it out with whoever. They suck. Fire McCarthy. You'll be better off for it in the long run. Promote Dan Quinn or something. Like, seriously. Like, who cares? Like, he can be interim head coach. See what he can do. He's a better head coach than McCarthy. That's for fucking sure. So, yeah, they tried to go in on this like cap year, like this year where they were going to try to still be good, but still try to shed some cap, and it didn't work. And next year, get rid of Zeke, get rid of his slow ass, get rid of McCarthy, get rid of Kellen Moore if he can't call plays and is predictable, and Devin White is like, oh yeah, we knew exactly what he was going to do. Like, get rid of him if he's going to be like that, and just draft Jalen Carter or something in the top 5, and then put out Tank Lawrence, Jalen Carter, and Micah Parsons. Sign some free agent wide receiver, and then you have Dak. You have a good high pick. You have like, and just profit. Like, just that's the plan. Like, just suck.
Yeah.
Because you're not winning it all this year. It's not your year. All right. So
draft. What's his face? Jackson Smith and Jigba, man.
Whoever it is, yeah, it's Smith and Jigba. It's like either a wide receiver 2 or some interior defensive lineman or another corner.
Maybe some offensive lineman.
Offensive lineman, yeah, sure, someone, but
yeah,
you suck this year, man. Like, you were never winning it all, and
yeah.
When is the timer up on Dak, dude? He set the record. He set the franchise record for touchdowns last year. The timer is up on Dak when he has like a horrible, like even a below average season, which he hasn't had anytime soon. Like, the contract's up on when his maybe they don't re-sign him after this contract. So I don't think the timer. I think Dak is a longer leash than most think.
Yeah, but we've been live for well over an hour at this point, so I think we can.
I agree.
Send the people on.
I'm pretty tired, dude.
I'm gonna go take a nap. I have an exam tomorrow.
And what?
Chemistry.
Brutal.
Yeah, I hate chemistry.
Glad I'm not doing that.
But it is what it is.
I think I'll go bird watching. I think I'll take a hike. I think I'll
take a nap.
Yeah,
take a nap.
You guys are so cool.
Yeah.
But as always, from a retired corn boy, bird boy, and lemon boy, we will catch you all on the flippity flop.